Welcome back, grade 2s, for our next reading lesson. Before we get started, we are going to read from our story, from our reader. We're going to read a story from our reader today. But before we begin, I just want to review what we talked about last time. Do you remember what sound these two phonograms make? They say oi. Can you say that? Oi. Now, one of them we can use at the end of an English word, and one we can't. Do you remember? This one we can use at the end, like boy, right? This one, like oil, we can't use at the end, right? Because English words don't end in I normally. Okay, there's some rule breakers, but they don't normally. So we have oi, right? End of an English word, not at the end. Okay? And we learned a new leap word last time. Do you remember this word? Were, like they were late. Okay, just wanted to remind you of those couple things. And then our story for today is we're going to read Wild Rice Harvest. Now on our warm-up sheet, you'll see a picture of wild rice, okay? And basically wild rice is where it's grown somewhere wild, where a farmer didn't plant it, could grow near marshlands, marsh grass, that sort of thing. And it's used for cooking, just like we would use white rice or brown rice for cooking. And the part that's on the outside is called the chaff, and that's the covering that sort of protects the rice while it's growing. It protects the seed while it's growing into rice. Okay, now when you harvest it, means you pick it, that you take that chaff off, and then we dry rice out. So rice is dried, so then it can be stored, and it can be kept in your pantry for a long time until you need to use it, okay? Now, have you ever had your parents or your grandparents ever tell you a story, maybe about when they were young or back many years ago, what they did or what something happened to them, okay? It's often fun to imagine, what would it have been like when our grandma was in grade 2, right? Or our grandpa was a teenager, right? And if you had to pick, what would you say is one of the best stories that your mom or your dad or your grandma or grandpa has ever told you? Because in our story today, the father tells his children about how he gathered wild rice when he was a young boy. Okay? And as you read this story, you're going to actually learn how you could gather wild rice too. So you're going to read the story, Wild Rice Harvest. Also in your package is some sequencing cards, and that's a fancy word for I want you to put in order how, okay, that we gather wild, or how we harvest wild rice. You're going to put them in order, okay? So after you read it, then get these sheets out, and I want you to put them in order of to how we harvest wild rice. So enjoy reading today.